Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm here with me with two lovely ladies, and we happen to be celebrating Women's Month in most countries anyway. And this year it happens to fall on a time where we're also experiencing changes due to coronavirus. And that brings us to the topic that we'll be discussing today, which is women supporting each other during this season, and how do we empower one another. Some people have been affected even, financially at work. Some people lost their jobs, and some women are now working on reduced hours, and they are reevaluating their lives and trying to find out means of being more industrious, or looking at starting some projects just to earn a living, or for pursuing those dreams that they previously put on hold. So we'll be talking about how as women we can support one another. So I've got with me here Thobekile and Nomsa, who will be just fleshing this topic out. So without wasting any time, I will ask Nomsa to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. It's Nomsa Muteriwa. What joy divine it is to be here. I wear so many hats. I always introduce myself as, for a long time, as a nurse, because people always would ask, so what do you do? So I'll just get onto that and say, I'm a nurse. But as life has taught me, I have learned to associate myself with the community, with the family. So I'm a wife, I'm a mother of 3, and I'll be known as Zimbabwean, which means I socialize there, but I have integrated into the Australian community. So in my work as a nurse, I've known so many people that I relate with, and in my life in the community I've known so many, and at home I'm known by many. So this is who I am, a community member, a professional, and a mother. And lately I'll be known as a housewife, because after all the work, after all the community, I come back to the house and be a wife and fulfill all the duties and roles a mother and wife should do. So yeah, 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy, growing very fast. And yeah, so this is who I am. And I am a Christian. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Nomsa. I think while we're talking about the subject of women empowerment, even the way a woman chooses to define herself, I think that on itself it's very empowering, because if you define yourself, it means that you are taking, some control over that, and no one else or society has got the power to define who you are. So I think the way we define ourselves as well is empowering on its own. And you are right when you say you wear different hats, and I think of late as well, maybe you'll be telling us further down the line. I've been following you, the work that you do, on Facebook, talking to young women and young men, and on dating and courtship, and the advice that you offer generally. I find it's really informative, and just to keep going, sister, you are doing a great job. So next lady.
Thank you for the affirmation.
Yeah, we really, really appreciate the work that you do, especially now that we are in this country. Some of us, we left all our aunties back home, and to have that person who is putting themselves out there to say, I'll be talking on vital issues, on vital topics, in particular towards our youth, that's something that we really appreciate. So the next lady that I will ask to introduce herself is Thobekile.
Thank you for introducing me. I'm not sure how I'm going to fit that introduction. I'm not much of a speaker, but I'll just, my name is Tobe, and I'm also a mother of 2 adult children. I've been married for over 26 years, and currently I am involved in different community projects. That's where my passion lies. I also work with children from refugee backgrounds who came here without their parents, who were impacted by the war. The other thing that I do with my family, I work we do in different investments, and the one that we are currently doing is property. And also I support my husband, who is a mechanic. He has his own business. So I am very passionate working with other women in uplifting them and in walking along with them, so that especially women that have come, who have newly arrived to the country, so that they can see the light at the end of the tunnel, that there is life and there is hope when they have support.
Oh, thank you for that introduction. And you are one of the ladies, you are one of the women that I really look up to. You are one of the women speaking from the bottom of my heart. And you know that you are one of the women that really supports me. And I know that I can be authentic and be genuine with you. You know, when I'm struggling, I can always reach out, knowing that you will drop everything and I will see you in my front door. So I really appreciate that. It makes a difference. And you mentioned that you do lots of community, you know, work and engagement, even including the work that you do with Camden Council of bringing, you know, different communities together. And of note in particular for myself, I was inspired by the work that you do in supporting young women, especially young refugee women or young women coming from Africa who are settling in and trying to find their feet. Watching you, the way I saw you taking these women in and just mentoring them and just supporting them, women that you didn't even know that you met on the street, it really challenged me also to begin doing something similar. I'm also started working and supporting refugee women. So I owe that to you as well, and God bless you. Keep up the good work that you are doing. So thank you so much, ladies, for those introductions. So let's get to the meat of the topic: women supporting each other. The question is, are we supporting each other? Maybe I will start by speaking for myself. Personally, I think that to a certain extent, as women, we do support each other, but I strongly feel that there is room for improvement. I strongly feel that there is more ways we can really support each other and be there for one another and uplift one another, especially during this season and during this crisis, when so many people's lives, you know, have been turned upside down, and when so many people are trying to just think about how the future is going to look like for themselves. We know that women are always industrious. They are always coming up with new ways, you know, of making end meet. Even the Bible talked about the Proverbs 31 woman. So I strongly believe in my heart that now more than ever, we should be really rising up and taking that challenge. But I really want to hear from you, ladies. Nomsa, do you think as women we truly support each other?
Yes, I would like to believe that as women, we do truly support each other. I think in a very long time, support has always been defined by the person who is being supported, which is a bit slippery, because you might never know what the person needs. So I think as women, we need to open up and ask, how can I support you? Because we can wear ourselves out thinking you are supporting someone, and someone actually does not feel supported because you didn't ask them, how can I support you? Some may need just the money, some may need just the prayers, some may need, but if somebody says, please come, show up for them and support them. I think there is something about showing up for supporting a person that makes a classic difference in their experience. It's one thing to say, I'll meet you on Zoom, or I'll pray for you, or let's catch up on the phone. And it's another thing to show up. Even when we look in the Bible, Mary and Martha say, Jesus, if you were here, Lazarus wasn't going to die. Like, if you were here present, sometimes the shared experience, the emotion, that transmitted feeling for one another makes the other person feel supported. So as women, let's define what is support. How do I want to be supported? Who can I approach to support each other? I've seen a lot of people who work so hard and they're so heartbroken because they think they've given all they could give, but then they hear someone saying, oh, you never supported me. I say, what? Didn't I do this? Didn't I do that? Not knowing that that's not the support that they wanted. So let's have that dialogue. Let's open up. Let's put it on the table. How can I support you? So that when we are channeling our support, we are aiming towards a goal and to reach a target. And when we are finished, or when we think we're finished with supporting, we ask, is there anything else I could do? Or how did you go? Is that okay? So I think, support needs to be directed, targeted, and be known. So in supporting, we've got all the strengths, we've got all the attitude, but let's ask, how can I support you? I think,
That's really powerful and profound. I like that you mentioned, from my understanding, that support has to be based on dialogue, ongoing communication between the two people. Because I can imagine how frustrating it must be for both people, the one who thinks they are offering the support and the other one who feels unsupported. So it's wasted effort on both parties. So I think you raised a really important issue that we really have to communicate amongst ourselves as women, and that the support has to be individual. It's an individual support. The support that I require will be different from the support that you require. So if we communicate and talk to one another, we'll be able to support each other. So I think that's a really important point that you shared. What about you, Tobe?
It's actually a led experience. Sorry.
No, that's fine. You can.
I'll let Nomsa finish.
No, I was just going to say it's a learned experience. I learned it from my mother-in-law. You give all you could, and then the phone is like, we didn't want spaghetti. We didn't want macaroni. Why did you just send us matches? Why didn't you send us this? So you may think you're giving your all, and the other person is actually expecting something different, just to top up.
I will share another story. You reminded me of something. That support has to be based on dialogue, and it has to be specific. This lady, she's a Nigerian preacher. She was giving a testimony that some well-wishers came from the Western countries. They went to a remote Nigerian village, and they called all the women and said, we really want to support you. We've decided we are going to build individual taps in your homesteads, because we've noticed that you ladies, you walk on foot and you travel kilometers to come to this borehole. So we'll simplify it. We'll just build individual taps in your homesteads without, waiting for the women to put their input. They just put the taps. And what happened is the women, they just used those taps 1 or 2 days. And then from there, they started walking back to the borehole again. So the people, the donors said, what happened? We don't understand.
Get the laugh.
We tried, to simplify life for you people. We built individual taps. How come you're leaving them? You're still going to the borehole. They said, you never asked us. If you had asked us, we would have told you that this borehole, it actually serves a purpose. this is our meeting place as women. We look forward to this time. You know, we check our water pots and we look forward just to having our time without the kids, without the husband, just to talk about our women issues. So if you had asked us, we would have let you know that as much as you want to support us, individual taps is not the way to go. We want our borehole. So,
That's
which
so
drives
funny.
that point that support really has to be specific and it has to be what the other person wants. Otherwise, it's frustrating to both.
It is.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Sorry, Tove, I took your time. You can, what do you think?
No, that's okay. For me, I would talk from my own experience. So when I arrived in Australia, I think we went to live in Goulburn, and I was a young mom at that time. I remember my daughter was 6 months old and my son was 5 years old. So I started going to church, and when I arrived at church, most of the people, they were elderly. So then they told, because there was no one my age, they told me that there was a mother's group. So I could attend a mother's group with my kids so that my kids can play with other kids. So when I went to the mother's group, I met all these young mothers and I told them about my situation because we had just come from Africa. We had nothing. We did not even have a couch to sit on. My kids did not have enough clothes. It was winter time and some of the clothes that I had got from Africa were stolen. So these mothers made sure that every week I was provided with food. So I could hear someone knocking or saying, Tove, is there anything that I didn't have a phone at that time? Do you need anything? Do you have food at home? And I'll say, no, I don't have food. What do you need? I need bread. But I'll be waiting for bread, but I'll get a lot of plastic bags full of food. And then I remember getting sick at one time, and someone pitched in and they assisted with me going to the doctor and also buying the prescription. And it was very overwhelming for me because the support was so much. I had never even been helped that way from where I had come from. And I was like, here I am, just being accepted for who I was, because when I left home, I came here, we came here with nothing. And here I was with nothing, and I was given that unconditional love by other women who did not even know me, who had not known me, and who didn't even have to help me. My kids were fully clothed. We had everything that we needed in the house. And then in the end, they were like, okay, if you want to make money for yourself, you can start doing some ironing, which I started doing, and they were giving me something. And I think that gave me so much hope that I can continue, and that there was light at the end of the tunnel. It removed the fear because I did not feel alone. That made me not feel alone. And them telling me that, oh, you know what, you can make it. There's people that have come here with nothing in this country, and you can look at them and you can do something for yourself. It really, really gave me courage and hope. And sometimes I don't talk to those ladies anymore, but they are in my heart. And whenever I think about doing things for other people as well, I don't have to say, oh, I did this for you. I just say to the person, or do this, you do a favor to someone. Later, you find someone who needs the help. I think that's where I think as women, sometimes when we get help, we should really appreciate it and say, oh my goodness, I got help. It doesn't matter how little the help is, because we have a tendency of saying, oh, we want big things, but it's just that one kind word. Is that just someone telling you something that you might not remember that you did something for them, and then maybe 5 years later, 10 years later, they come back and say, oh my goodness, I'm here because of you. If we keep our eyes open, like I said, I found here, and the women who were so supportive towards me, and I had to think about it later and say, oh, I'm here because someone was able to believe that it's possible for me to go forward.
Wow, what a start, Tobe. There's a few things that I noted as you were speaking, that sometimes, in particular for women maybe who are settling into another country, the support sometimes it tends to be like a hierarchy. That's why it's important to have that conversation, because the support that a woman would require at one stage will be different, like let's say after a few months. From what I understand, and I had similar experience as well. I still remember the lady who supported me with practical and physical stuff, when I first came to the country. And it seems like you had the same experience as well. And even with the refugee women that I support at the moment, I've realized that initially maybe the support that they want will be the physical needs, the food, the furniture and stuff like that. But the more they achieve those things, their support and their needs change. They start wanting to be self-sufficient. They start trying to look for ways of how do I support myself and stand in my own feet? Because majority of women, they want to be independent. They want to be self-sufficient. So if you keep on giving those physical needs, when that person is moved on and they want to be self-sufficient, that's when sometimes friction happens, because you'll be telling yourself that I keep supporting this person, but they are not appreciative when that's not what they want. At that moment, they just want to be supported to stand on their 2 feet. And so I think you raised a really important point.
And Julie, sorry to disturb you, that when we help people, we should not ask for anything in return. Don't go and say, oh, because I help them. I think we have a tendency to say as women sometimes, or if it wasn't for me, they wouldn't be where they are. I think if we just help people and realize that, okay, as you said, we've helped them physically. Now it's emotional. Probably they will need someone maybe for emotional help instead of, like, if they needed you for the physical help. Now they are looking at emotional health. It means they have grown. So you should be happy for them and you should be able to release them. We should not hold on to people when they are growing. Sometimes we have a tendency of saying, okay, because I helped them here, they have to stay here. The women that helped me when I first came here, yes, I'm still friends with them, but they were able to release me to maybe keep learning more things for myself. So that's what I try to do. But if I have helped someone, release them. When it's time to release them, release them. Don't say, oh, I helped them, now they have to be here forever and I have to hold on to them. We have to let go after we help someone.
That's a very good point there, Tobe. And I remember my father's advice, because I was feeling guilty that a particular person who helped me passed away before I could actually settle down in Australia and send them some money for gratitude. And my father said, there is no way you can actually go back and pay back every single person that helped you. And at the same time, like you're saying that they should not hold you back. When they let you go, the only sensible thing or blessing you can do, or to show your gratitude, is to help another person. So like you are doing, you're helping other people. You are paying back in a way. You are being grateful for what happened to you. And as a result, you show by also giving. Freely given, freely give. So it's amazing that you have that attitude that when you help, you don't hold back. You don't expect people to stay. Let them go, because they also have a life where they're going to help someone.
It's making me wonder, Nomsa, based on what you just said, because sometimes you hear these stories of someone or a woman helping another woman, and then you come back later and then you hear that they are now no longer friends, they are no longer talking, and you wonder what happened. So I'm just wondering if sometimes even the person who is helping the other woman, they have to constantly be mindful and ask themselves, why am I really helping this person? Because like Tove said, if you are really helping because you want to empower that person, you will know that their need, will be dynamic, it will constantly change, and you also adjust your support as well. But if your number one reason of supporting me is because maybe you want to feel good that I'm doing something, you'll just want to, it's like feeding a child, constantly feeding, even when they are full. The child will end up being irritable as well. I think we also have to be mindful that why am I so obsessed, or why am I really keen to push my support on this person? If my motive is to empower the person, if they are saying my need has moved for that, if I truly wanted to help you, I should be okay and say, oh, that's good, and let you go and set you free. So I think even the person who is helping the other person has to check themselves and examine themselves. Why am I helping this person? Is it because I've got an unmet need? Because if you are doing just to satisfy your own unmet need, it means you'll end up doing more damage, more harm to the other person. Because I don't know about you ladies, I know that I've heard a number of stories where people were helping each other, supporting the other person, said, you wouldn't believe what they, after all that I did for them, and this is how they repay me. But if you were truly doing it to help the other person, it wouldn't matter. You'll say, I helped that person when they needed help. That's it. So.
That's why people say, do it Jesus' way. I don't know how in the world they say. Can you imagine if Jesus was to stand one day and say, Lazarus, do you remember I woke you up from the dead? I raised you from the dead. And he said to the layman, no, every single person, you called me for help. Didn't I get you off the tree and ate with you? And then he would narrate all of the events. No, Jesus helped where he could help and moved on. And he would say, go back to your people, share your story, or do something, do good, go and sin no more. He didn't want to say, okay, now that I've helped you, I need to keep you under my belt and keep check on you. And yeah, so it's amazing how attitudes or helping can be defined and how it can turn out. And a relationship that was otherwise good ends up being spoiled because the person who helped now is demanding.
So, which brings me to the next point, which I've been thinking about as well, in particular to those women who find themselves in this particular moment saying, I really have to evaluate my life. I really have to, think about pursuing that goal or that dream, and maybe they are not confident and they are not sure. I'm just wondering, Tove, what do you think, what kind of attitude does someone need to have in order to help them to pursue their goals or, their dreams as they reevaluate their lives?
You have to know the end goal. What is your main goal? Because if you don't even know what your main goal is, just like paper that blows with the wind, you will find yourself blowing in all directions and ending up pursuing goals that you haven't set up for yourself. I think that's, for me, that's one of the things that I tell my kids, that if you don't know where you are going, you will just follow any direction. So the important thing is just to sit and reevaluate to see what you want to do. For example, someone might be working towards getting an education, or you want to advance towards maybe getting a promotion at work. You could be working towards improving your finances. You could be working towards your health or being a better mom. Because also, before we go ahead and say, oh, being successful can be defined in many different ways by different people. Because I think in our community, sometimes we just make a mistake of saying, oh, the successful person is the one who lives in a better home or who drives a better car. That's not success. If you are not healthy, for example, how are you going to be enjoying that success? I think it comes to like looking at a holistic approach in saying, okay, now I want a promotion at work, but how am I going to balance that with my life at home? How am I going to balance that with my other relationships? I've got kids. I've got other things. There's so many things that come with a goal, because you can't just pursue a goal and just ignore the other things that could be happening in your life. So you have to sit down and say, okay, this is my main goal. And then that way you can stay focused on your goal. I mean, things will come here and there, but at the end of the day, you say, oh, I'm not, if someone says, for example, oh, let's do this, that's not your goal. Yes, you can go and support them, but are you working towards that goal? No, you are not. Someone will come back and, oh, I have this project. Do you want to join? I have made that mistake in the past of when people come in, I find myself just, I'm here this week, chasing things that are not things that are not meant for me, that I'm not supposed to be doing. And then, oh, the year has come to an end and I haven't done anything for myself, I haven't done anything for my goals. So I think that's very important, that you should know where you want to go. And just because someone is also doing well in a certain goal, that's not your goal. Just be happy for them with that goal and cheer them, and because you are not going towards that direction. Because if you end up following that direction, if they're gonna fall in a hole, you're gonna end up falling in that same hole as well. Or if they want to take a left turn, what are you gonna do? So that's what I'm saying, that we have to sit down. You have to know what your main goal is, and you have to stay focused with that goal. And don't get lost along the way. It will be very easy for you when you know what the end goal is. What do you really want? And before you start doing a lot of things and start getting lost along the way.
That's very powerful. So in your experience, especially considering the events that you do, and also supporting different women, and maybe both collectively and individually, do you think that sometimes maybe that attitude of women comparing themselves with other women, even if they've got different circumstances, do you think maybe that's one thing that hinders people from pursuing their goals and becoming who they can be to the maximum?
Yes, I think it's true. Even myself, I'm guilty of that. I think in the past, I have gotten lost, and especially with social media, it's so easy to just go in there and easily get lost and see people, because sometimes we judge what we see from the surface, but there is more than what we see. Especially my husband has been good at telling me all the time when I've been getting lost and saying, oh, really, you think that's the way it's going? How do you know? It's not your business. So I think if we stop comparing ourselves, because we really don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You don't know. When people close the wall, you really don't know what's going on. You can't just say, when you see someone from the outside, oh, this is, and we have this tendency of, when we see people, we write their life story for them and we finish. Or sometimes we say, you can hear someone saying, oh, I really know that person. They're like this and this and this. And maybe that's not very true. So if you just try and pursue your own goals and just work, because as I said, we all have been given different destinations. So destiny, but which one are you pursuing? Is it for Nomsa? Is it for Julie? As you can see now, we are doing very different projects, but we are here supporting each other. So that it's very important that we realize that. Yeah.
And you summarized actually what they normally say, like for encouraging people who are pursuing goals. They say that the goals, so that to avoid what you're describing, that if you just do things blindly, you might fall into a ditch. We seem to have lost Nomsa. I don't know where she is. Hopefully she will come back. So they usually say that goals, they have to be SMART, with the S standing for specific, and M that they have to be measurable, and A that achievable, that it's something that you can achieve, you know, and that they have to be realistic for you as well, and that they have to have a time frame. So we really have to have that kind of framework around us so that we don't just go and spread ourselves thin and just be punching against the wind. So we'll see if we can get Nomsa back. I don't know.
Okay. Also, Julie.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
I was going to say that it's okay for people to say that this is not working for me. I have done so many projects. I have done so many businesses. Not all of them have been successful. And it's okay to know that you are not part of your business. Is not you. If your business fails, it doesn't mean you have failed in life. Because I think sometimes we have a tendency, I think I used to have that tendency as well. Like, oh, you know, I used to have a clothes store and I closed the clothes store. But before I closed the store, oh, what are people going to think? People are going to think I have failed. But people will talk anyway, whether you are doing well or you are not doing well. So you have to look after yourself first before you think about what other people are going to say about you or your business.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's really important to constantly reevaluate and to be flexible as well. You know, what would have worked in the previous season could not be what you need right now. Like in this particular moment, some people who have lost their jobs or they have to look for new employment. So there is absolutely nothing wrong with re-evaluating and seeing what you can be doing right now, or if there are other ways of doing the same thing, you know, getting the same results, but just using different strategies. So there's to be something which is individual and specific to you, and you don't have to worry that Nomsa knew me doing A, B, C, D. If I stop doing that, she'll think I failed. No, at the end of the day, it's your life. You are simply re-evaluating. And we spoke about allowing other people to grow. If someone has outgrown that area and moved on to other things, that's their choice. That's their business. The most helpful thing you can do is to support them. So I think it's really important that you are raising and emphasizing this point that we should allow each other to make choices and to be flexible and to reevaluate and give each other, you know, that room to grow. What are your thoughts on this, Nomsa?
Yeah, on attitudes, we're talking about attitudes, isn't it? Attitude is just everything. What you bring into the situation is escorted by the attitude. I would like to emphasize that let's not leave everything to chance and say, oh, well, if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like, you know, an apple a day says that, you know, gets the doctor away. No, just get as much apples as you can. Don't just do the apple a day. If you have to commit yourself fully. The problem is we are afraid to commit because we're afraid of failure. So that when we fail, we do not say, so that when we fail, we say, well, it's just that I didn't put enough energy. Put as much energy as you can, so that when you don't make it, you say, at least I tried. I gave it my best. People always say, oh, good luck, good luck. There's nothing called good luck. If opportunity comes to you and you have no plan, it's not gonna work. If you have a plan and you have no time, it's not gonna work. You have got time and no opportunity, it's not. So good luck is basically when opportunity and time and plan diverge. Where they collide, that's the best chance. Because many opportunities have come and I had no plan. Many plans I've had and I didn't get the opportunity. So we need to actually always have a plan, like what Tove said. Let opportunity find you with a plan. Don't think, oh, so-and-so is doing stock markets, I'm going to do stock markets. So-and-so is doing disability, I'm going to do disability. So that you go with the tide. It's not going to work. Like, you will be so worn out at the end of the day. So focus, take one step at a time. If you want to multitask, take two. If it doesn't work, know when to stop. Don't give your life, your heart, your everything to it, that if it fails, you fail there, your life ends there. And we repatriate the body. Don't die with an opportunity. Know when to stop, know when it doesn't work, know when to move on to the next thing. I think that's what we need to do. Be alert, be vigilant, be conscious for everything that comes away. We believe in God. We always talk of impression. Have the impression in your heart that the Spirit says move, the Spirit says stop, or all those things. Sometimes we run with the tide and leave the driver of it all behind. And when we are stuck, we have nowhere to go because we haven't sought enough counsel, we haven't sought enough advice, or we didn't listen when the Spirit said, this is not going to work. We've got a lot of advisors, counselors, supporting sisters. Some can say, I tried this. Well, you might need to be careful about this and this and this, or this is the loophole and that is the, So the attitude spells it all. Give it your all. Like I said, in showing up 100%, I am here, let's do it. So that when we fail, we don't dismally fail, we learn from that experience and there's never a wasted opportunity, there's never a wasted experience. Every experience will help you to move on to the next thing. I think that's the attitude we need to have in everything that we do. Give your 100%.
Wow, that's great. That's really, really amazing. I always say to myself, you raised a really important issue, that sometimes this attitude, fear of failure, is one that stops people from even beginning, thinking, what will people say if I fail? And on the other hand, sometimes we don't plan, we don't even consider that these are my skills, these are my gifts. We see people doing things, we just join in. It's like sometimes we really don't have balance. On one hand, we've got fear of failure, fear of even starting. And on the other hand, sometimes we just go with the flow. So, I think we really have to be mindful of these things. Because one of my greatest fear, something which I found I'm finding liberating, because it's a process, it's a journey, is that I don't want to be in my 90s lying in my bed and look back, in Tove, and think I should have done attempted A, B, C, but I didn't because I was afraid of people. I really don't want to be on that stage. I want to be able to say that I felt driven to do A, B, C, D, and I attempted it and I gave it my best. So yeah, I think we really have to have a healthy balance of initiating things, of enduring, of staying with them, and reevaluating if it's not working or if the season is over, moving on. That's okay. So you really shouldn't let your goal or your dream define you, because we are more than what we do. So yeah, I think these attitudes are really, really crucial. So moving on further from that, Nomsa, how then do we handle it? Because we'll always face opposition and discouragement. We've already mentioned it in passing, but how do we handle opposition and discouragement?
Yeah, that's that's a very hard one. I used to be very, very crushed by opposition, because I never used to understand that such a brilliant idea, why would anyone oppose it? But if you learn to understand that your idea is your idea, it's not everyone's idea. People are going to oppose. Sometimes just take it as a learning curve. Don't internalize every opposition. Just ask yourself, are they opposing the idea or they are opposing me as a person? Then you deal with those things separately. If it's about you, what is it that I need to change? What is it that I am learning from here? Is it a personal dislike? And one thing that you need to know, you can only control your own behavior.
Yes.
There's no way you can control somebody else's. You don't know where they're coming from, where they grew up, what their experiences are. Sometimes people's behaviors are seared into their DNA, into their veins. They're not even aware of them. But sometimes they are well-meaning. They really want to show you a point, but it's the approach, it's the manner in which they say the thing that really crushes you. So I've learned, if every time I meet opposition, sit with the idea. If it's written down, put it under my books in the morning, read it again. Does it mean the same? Is this what exactly they wanted to say? Somehow, miraculously, in between the lines, in between that opposition, you will see their point. That, this is what they meant. Very hard pill to swallow, but you would have learned something. You would have, gained knowledge. Like I said, there's no wasted opportunity. Every opportunity, try to learn from it. Don't be afraid of opposition. Don't be afraid of criticism. Like I said, I always admire the statement that there is nothing that can stop you. Do not underestimate the power of a woman whose opportunity has arrived. You are unstoppable. No opposition, no criticism that is going to stop you. You are going to move forward until people think, but she's got a point. Even those who were opposing start to support you, start to see how determined you are, determination. But don't let it be like a wild determination. Plan properly, execute, and then if the impression comes strongly to you, follow it, like with all the strength and all the might and all the passion. So criticism will come, opposition will come, but let's not be disheartened. Let's not be dismayed. Don't be devastated. Just take each time, take each opportunity, take each criticism as it comes, evaluate it. Ask yourself Ben Carson's 4 questions. Number 1, what would be the best out of this situation if I follow this avenue? What would be the worst? What would be the best if I don't follow this avenue? What would be the worst? Those 4 questions, go through them, evaluate them. Every time you meet criticism, what could be the best out of this? What could be the worst? Then you would, just keep on track. Pray about it. Remember to pray about these situations. Sometimes the devil does try us. Sometimes really some people, could be sent, you know, by the devil himself, and to attack and to destroy, because where there is a good will, the devil is not settled. He wants to bring the whole thing down. Let's pray about it, pray for strength. A prayer later, and you still feel this thing needs to be addressed, or this thing needs to take a different turn, then you act accordingly.
That's a sermon. That's powerful. I've written down those 4 points because I think they are really, really powerful punches. You said they are from Ben Carson.
Yes,
Yeah, the
Ben
politician.
Carson, yeah.
Okay. Oh, I
Yes.
think I really, really like them because I think they are the most objective. They are really, really objective. Yeah, because I think, Toba, you mentioned some other time that sometimes you have to choose like where you get your support from. So I'm just wondering, how does this tie in with how we face opposition and discouragement in choosing the type of people that we reach out to for support?
Be able to tell if someone is coming with constructive criticism or they are really pulling us down. Because if someone is not building you up, it's like, what can I say? It's like emotional abuse. It can be like emotional abuse. Someone will come, if, for example, Julie, you come to me, oh, Sisi, I'm writing my book. Oh, Julie, if I'm jealous of what you are doing, I'll be like, oh, you know, don't waste time. I would not be saying, oh, yeah, go for it, you know, go and seek this advice from these people that can help you. I might not have knowledge about those things, but I'll be saying a bit of helpful things, bit by bit, you know, like you just sort of boxing you so that your dreams, in the end, you just think, oh, look, I'm not good enough. I'm just gonna, you know, put this aside. I think once you realize who is working with you to uplift you and who is pulling you down, it makes life very easy. If you realize that this person is really wanting the best for me, you go and work with those people. And if you realize that when I am with someone, it's a gut feeling, you know, if I come even to your home and I don't come with good intentions, and when I leave your home, you have so many questions that are not making you feel good, you should never be coming for advice from me, because it means that I am not a good person to uplift you. There is a lot of people out there that you can get mentors, you can even get a paid mentor if you can't get anyone to help you. Also, the most important thing that I have found helpful is to be your own cheerleader. Sometimes you can't get someone because everyone is busy, especially when we live here in these first world countries. People are very busy. Sometimes it's very hard. And if you are not your own cheerleader and you are waiting for other people to cheer you up, sometimes you would be waiting for a very long time. So I have learned to be my own cheerleader. I really love cheering myself up. I mean, Julie, you always cheer me up. I have got other women like Rose that are mentoring me and they uplift me and they cheer me up. But I can't have you 24/7, and I can't expect to just take and take from you. So if we learn to be our own cheerleaders, it will make life very easy for us. Yes, we go out there and get support, but just have that belief in yourself that, look, I can do it. Opportunities that have been available to me, not because I have got the best education, but I will say to myself that, yes, I have done well for myself and my family because I have seen some opportunities lying here and there, and I've been able to take those opportunities. Not because maybe I've been getting all the support from the other women, but because I've been cheering myself and saying, oh, yes, you can do it.
So that you have to be your number one supporter, because your mentor, your friend, your family, they are not always there with you 24 hours a day. So source of encouragement is my faith in God. That's where I know who I am and why I'm here on this earth for my purpose. So that's where I get my strength and my courage to do what I believe I was put here on earth to do. And I also pray and trust that along the journey, God will bring the right support. And you put it well, Tove, that sometimes as human beings, we make mistakes, we'll miss it, but God can use someone who is coming from a pure place to give you constructive criticism, which is different from someone who is just discouraging you from following your dream and becoming everything that you can ever be. So I think we need that wisdom, and I think you really spoke well into that. So I'm also wondering, Nomsa, seeing as women, we wear so many hats and we've got so many responsibilities, and at the same time, we're trying to become the best that we can ever be, or we're reevaluating our lives and trying to find out, how do I move on now? How do I make ends meet? And it sometimes becomes too much that if you're not careful, you crash and you burn out. So how do we handle that, Nomsa?
Very, very important. Yeah. Very, very important to know, because the world has become busier and busier for women. This is what I always tell women, that if you're going to take up a profession, just bear in mind that you're not being relieved of your already duties that you have. Like the duties that you already have, you're not relieved from them. You're still a mother. You're still a wife. You're still, a community leader or participant, whether you have a doctorate or you have what. So it's a pile and a pile upon us, and the day still has 24 hours. So it is so hard sometimes. It is so hard. And especially now that we have been far removed from the aunties and the sisters and that borehole where we can go and giggle and laugh while we're fetching the water. It's not there anymore. So the weight is just too much upon our shoulders. I was marveling at the fact that sometimes when you go for interviews, they ask you, are you on Facebook? No. Are you on Instagram? No. Are you on TikTok? No. Are you on WhatsApp? If you're not on any other social platform, then they start worrying. How then do you balance work and life? We are social beings. Human beings, we're designed to connect with other people. So after the work, we still need to socialize. We still need a spiritual fulfillment. So we need to balance our lives in all those quadrants: spiritually, socially, professionally, like wholly, and also focus on our health. So as women, we need to be mindful of that. If it means drawing up a timetable, let's draw it up so that we are not work, or we are not Facebook all day long. There are some people like we are so much on Facebook that you feel like you actually live with them, because every single minute, So that's not a good balance. Work is not a good, balance on its own. And sleeping at home is not even a good balance either. So we need to be able to have a triple beam balance, where we balance and juggle all these balls in the air at the same time. Make a schedule for yourself. Work up with a strategy, with a purpose. Sometimes the reason why we don't wake up is because we don't know what we're going to do when we wake up. So write up a timetable. I'm going to wake up and do ABC. I'm going to go to work. I'm going to go to the shop. Have that balance. Leave time to socialize. Leave time to pray. Start with a prayer. Some do that all the time. End with a prayer. Some do that all the time. But, there's no here and there strategy. It all comes to your relationship with your maker, your time, how you schedule it. For night shift workers, maybe early morning won't be good. They do it in the evening for, all these things. So work-life balance, Tove has touched on it before, very, very important. Otherwise, we'll go insane. The body does not know what to do. When the brain sends it, it just does until you are so fatigued, you shut down. If you shut down, you are not that useful to the community or to your family or to anyone. So we want to help. The body was built to last from creation until Jesus comes. So we need to know how we're going to manage this. If you're given 80 years, live the AFPS 8 years in a meaningful way. You don't want to live bam, 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 up to 30 years. You are done. The rest of your 40 years is just a miserable, miserable life. No, we don't want that. Let's balance our way nicely so that we get to our gratification at the end of the day and look back and say, I have run a good race. I have fought a good fight. And now, I'm waiting for my crown. Because, I think basically that's that. Learn to be able to say, I have done all I could in life the best way I have known to do it.
That's really profound. The work-life balance and the self-care. We know of colleagues and family and friends who have really worked themselves to the bone and they have burnt out, and we run the risk of having many chronic illnesses as well. So our number one asset is our bodies, is our minds and everything. So if you are going to get more out of any equipment, out of any machine, it makes sense that you have to look after that equipment well. You have to oil it and take care of it, make sure that it's functioning the way it's supposed to. And unfortunately, sometimes as women, because we are so proud of our multitasking ability, you are right, Nomsa, it does catch up with us. So self-care and looking after ourselves is not a luxury. But I'm really curious, Nomsa, what do you do for self-care yourself? What's your favorite downtime? Just to recharge. I'm just curious.
To recharge. No. It's amazing that sometimes recharging can look like work. There are some things that I do that make me so relaxed. Things that don't make me think on the task that I'm doing. Right? I don't sew as much as I would have loved to sew, but I love flowers. I love gardening. I love, seeing things grow. I love, there's times when I just want my me time to read what I want to read. I love biographies, stories of different people. I just sit there and read and think, wow, this is so beautiful. And I do sometimes like just spoiling myself on a good healthy meal, and I sit there. It's surprising that when we eat, after that, the attitude we have after we've eaten. There are some foods that when you eat, you feel so heavy and so miserable, and you think, what did I just do? But there are some meals, like when I prepare and eat, I feel so refreshed, and I think, I love this life, just that. Maybe because I'm not always home to prepare the meal that I want to prepare. It's always rush, do this, you're multitasking. But when I actually focus on the meal, just saying, I'm home today, I'm just going to do this. I love doing that. Yeah. And the amazing things about flowers is that I don't even pick them. I plant them and I watch them, like in the garden. The sense being, if I walk into a park and there's beautiful flowers and I start picking on the flowers, guess what? The same person who is going to come after me will not have the same experience with the garden as I had, because I've taken the flowers and took off with them. So I've just learned to just look and marvel and just list things as they are. Yeah.
Wow, that's really so grounding. I wish I had green fingers as well in doing gardening and growing flowers and watch them grow. I really, really love a beautiful garden and flowers, but God knows I tried and failed. So I might be coming and knocking on your doors for some lessons. Tobe, on this subject, I know that you hold it really in high esteem, and you are one of the people that keeps me in check when I tend to sometimes push myself too hard. You are really high on self-care, even on your events. You really have different, on your program where you talk about the importance of self-care. So I just wanted to find out, what do you have to say about this subject? I already know, but just to share with other people as well. And also tell us how you choose to self-care and recharge.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate myself because, as you know, I'm a social butterfly. I've been very fortunate that I have been given an opportunity to work in the community, and I'm just, as you know, very loud and out there. So I really, really enjoy that. So that has been, so I'm sort of recharged 24/7. But most of the self-care that I do, I don't pay for that self-care. I try to read books at home. I am very passionate about walking whenever I get time to take a walk. Whenever I get time, once in a while, if I can afford to pay for a massage, I would go for those. Once in a while, I would, because I love traveling, if I can travel. It's not always that, but most of the times, I think as people, we think, oh, I can't do self-care because I don't have money. It's not about having the money. It's about looking around what you have and working with what you have. As Nomsa said, she loves doing the garden. You can go and do your gardening. I love gardening as well. Sometimes I don't like cooking, so sorry, I never cook. Even if I invited you to my house, I'll probably maybe buy takeout and pretend that I have cooked the meal. But just, I think we should work around. I'm very passionate. I always tell people, just, you don't need a lot of things. It's just look around at home what you have. Even I love playing games. When we grew up, we used to have WhatsApp tape. I still play those even up to now. I just, whatever, work with what I have. It really simplifies my life. Instead of maybe looking at other people who can afford to play expensive games and stuff like that. You don't need that. Just find out what you have at home. You can go and buy a soccer ball or any other things. That's what I do. And I find that very relaxing for me. Just working with what I have at that time. I have a skipping rope, which I keep in my bag on busy days when I can't, when I'm not able to like run or walk. I then use my skipping rope. Even when I have a 5-minute break at work, I can take that skipping rope and use it.
Yeah, I know you really do those things, including the skipping rope. And the other day I saw you, I don't know whether you were running up Mount Annan or whatever. You are really active and physical. But what I like the most about what you said is that looking after yourself and self-care, it doesn't have to cost anything. And the times are hard these days, really, in this season where we're in right now. I have learned, especially even for myself, to appreciate the simple things in life. Those things that you can just do for free. At the same time, they are so nurturing and so recharging. I know for myself, I love being in nature, just taking nature walks and going for a walk, just to being quiet, because you can also walk because you are just used to the way, that if I go and turn there, you can do that absent-minded. but I try and make sure that I'm present. I'm looking at nature and everything. And I usually also listen to devotional, the word of God. And that's one way that I recharge and make sure that I'm replenishing what I'm giving out. So absolutely, self-care is important. So I'm realizing that we are running out of time, but I would like you in closing, ladies. It's been a really empowering discussion. At least for me, I've learned a lot from you. Is there any advice that you want to give to women, in particular this season, and also to encourage younger women? Just in closing, to summarize.
Don't look at what other people are doing. Do what makes you happy, because if, let's say, you choose a career right now, you might find yourself doing that for the next 40 years. You have long life to live. But also, it's okay for you if you have chosen to be in the wrong field to also change it. Don't be like, oh, you know, I've chosen this, I have to stick with this. I always tell my kids, they come to me, sometimes they are fearful. Oh, mom, we don't like this. I'm like, no, it's okay. It's okay not to like something, and it's okay for you not to continue doing that. The kids have their own dreams. If you wanted to be a doctor, it doesn't mean that your child has to be a doctor. Allow them. If they want to go into music, allow them to pursue their music, because that's where they're going to be happy, and maybe that's their calling. And by you preventing them following that dream, it's like you are taking them away from God. You are taking away their gift. So allow them to make mistakes. If they are still young, let's say someone is 20, they've got a long way until they are 30 years old to continue learning. We are still in our 40s, close to 50s, and we are still learning. Find other supportive young people, find mentors to help you, offer support. If you have anything, when you are feeling low, reach out to other young people or to other adults and tell them, look, I need help. I think it is very important. And as women, let's support our kids, not judging our kids. Remember our position and how we felt at that time when our parents were not listening to us, because our kids are just a gift from God. Just because they came through us doesn't mean they are ours. They are from God. They are all human beings that want to pursue their own dreams, and they are going to have their own lives. And also, as mothers, let's not say to the kids, oh, I have done this for you. I've educated you. Now you have to give me back this and that. Let's try as mothers to build our own wealth that we will live for our own children, not the other way around, whereby we have to be like forcing our kids to look after us, because they can never grow that way. And we will take them back to where we started when we came here. If our goal was to build wealth for our kids when we came here, let's not take that away from them. So that's what.
Yeah. That's really great advice for the youth. It's true, sometimes we really try and live our dreams through our children when they are quite unique individuals and God has gifted them differently. So thanks for raising that. And Nomsa, in closing, what's your advice to women and to young people? I know you're passionate about young people as well.
Yes, I am quite passionate about the strength that they have. I listened to is a person in the nursing home saying, had I known, had I known, I would have lived my life to the fullest, you know. Let us not live our life in the history of others, in somebody's past. Oh, mother said you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that. You know, that's them. Don't live in your mother's past. Don't live in the future. In 2020, I'm going to go to Australia. Can you imagine a person in Zimbabwe who wasn't doing their best and saying they're going to go to Australia on 2020? The planes are not flying. The boats are living in unprecedented times. Live in the here and now. If you have something to do, do it now. Do not say, oh, I'll wait until I get to the UK, or I'll wait until I get to Botswana. What if you don't get there? Do what you have to. Don't leave any stone covered. Leave no stone. Add all your strength. Do what you can. The strength we have been given is to use in this world, in this side of heaven. Guess what we do in the grave? Nothing. We sleep. We cannot use our energy in the grave. We cannot use our energy. We don't know what we do beyond death. I don't know. Nobody has ever come back to me to tell me what they do beyond death. But what I know is what we do now. So young people, you've got the strength. Seek advice. Seek guidance. Don't get overpowered, though. Just get the advice you can. Use your strength. Get attached to some mentors. The compliment that adult and young have is that the adults have got the wisdom, the young have got the strength. So get all the advice you can from the wise and use your strength to your best ability, because we only live once. Unless if you're like Lazarus, if you come back again. But what I know, we only live once. So whatever time you have been given to live on earth, do your best. That's all I can say.
Oh, thank you so much, ladies. I like what Nike says. Yeah, it always speaks to me. It says, just to do it.
Just do
That's
it.
powerful. Yeah, just to do it. Sometimes we overthink things. Just to do it. The time is to do it is now. So thank you so much, ladies. I really appreciate, and I'm sure that the ladies who will watch, especially those who are re-evaluating their lives, they will learn a thing or two that will help them in a meaningful way, because that's the reason why we are doing this. So I really appreciate taking the time and the wealth of information and wisdom and sharing your experiences. I always remember what my grandmother used to say, and it's a popular saying as well, that a candle doesn't lose its fire or its power just by lighting another candle. So as this is advice for us women, that during these times, let's reach out to each other and support one another. You do not lose anything just by being there to support another woman. And we wish everyone who is watching now or will watch later a happy Women's Month. Thank you so much, ladies. God bless you. Much appreciated. Until next.